Record to the cloud. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining. Today's Arborist Call, April 4th. We'll go through the agenda here. We'll have core team updates from ZF regarding Zebra and ECC regarding Zcash D and Zashi in the Wallet SDK. Research and implementation update section, sustainability fund, Frost, ZSAs, and the trailing finality layer. Then we'll have a section for open announcements and an open discussion section. What are Arborist Calls? Arborist Calls are bi-weekly calls where Zcash protocol contributors convene to discuss upgrade timelines and process, protocol R&D efforts, design and implementation of new protocol features, and identify blockers and unresolved issues. The purpose is to make core Zcash protocol development accessible for a wider set of participants and provide more transparency for the community at large. Who can participate? Anybody interested in learning about the Zcash protocol development can register at zcasharborist.org. And if you want to suggest a topic for discussion or present an in-depth agenda item relevant to the Zcash protocol, you can email arboristcall@zfnd.org to request a slot. And as Dodger has said many times in the past, we'd love to get an email to that address. Other ways to get involved, you can check out the Zcash Community Grants Program at zcashcommunitygrants.org, the Zcash R&D Discord, or the Zcash Community Forum. And you can find all these links by pointing your browser at zcasharborist.org. And we'll get started here with core team updates, starting with the foundation. And I think we have Aria here.
Yep, thank you, Dan. So since the last Arborist call, we fixed some new Clippy warnings for the latest stable version of Clippy, updated the get block RPC method to make state service requests in parallel. And thanks to Elijah Hampton, Zebra now logs database metrics such as the total disk space usage when it starts up and when it's shutting down. All of these are minor cleanup, as some of us were away at Real World Crypto. There's also a PR open for adding an empty network parameters struct in the testnet variant of network. And based on that branch, there's another PR open for adding an activation height field to network parameters and implementing parameters trait in Zcash primitives for our network struct as steps towards adding regtest and custom configurable testnets to Zebra. Finally, there's a PR open for returning block times when the get block RPC method is used with verbosity 1. So that's accessible without having to get and deserialize the hex encoded block data. And that's all.
Great, thank you, Aria. Next, we have updates from the Electric Coin Company, and I think that might be Chris.
Yep. All right. So the big news since the last Arborist call, Zashi 1.0 iOS version is out and available on the Apple App Store. So that's been sort of the conclusion of a lot of work over the past several months to get that all the way into production. It's built on the Zcash client backend and Zcash client SQLite stack that we are now starting to work to extend to additional, serve additional potential use cases in the direction of a command line wallet or just broader support for the Zcash protocol than just the simple light wallet use cases that we started with. So that's the major thing. Right now, I think everyone else is out either on post real world crypto travel or dealing with family situations and whatnot. But we're currently in the process of testing out Zashi for Android. That will be coming out sometime in the near future. I'm not exactly sure what the release schedule is, but it's essentially feature complete at this point. So we're in the testing and cleanup phases for that. And the other thing is there will be a Zcash D release, maintenance release coming out, I think this week. To avoid EOS halt problems on the network. So those are the major updates from the core team, ECC.
Great, thank you, Chris. Next, we have research and implementation updates, and the sustainability fund is up first. I think that might be Tomek.
Yes, that can be me. So the sustainability fund effort in general has been suspended for a little while, but we are looking into resuming the work shortly. We are still figuring out the timeline for that. I guess the overall goal is still to aim for the in the upcoming halving later in the year. So we're hoping Q2 will we'll manage to do a lot of progress in Q2. In general, the current status is the Zebra implementation, I would say, is 60 to 70% complete. We have a bunch of smaller pieces that we still need to glue together and test, but I think we know how to do things and how to proceed. We haven't really done much progress on Zcash except the parts that are common to and shared between Zebra and Zcash, which is the Libras Zcash. We have a small PR there that was merged already, and another one that we are working on. But other than that, haven't really done much progress. Just to verify, I guess be sure. I mean, even though the migration to Zebra in the ecosystem has been announced and so on, we are still, we are still supporting Zcash after the halving, and the Zcash Sustainability Fund effort is still to be developed on Zcash, right?
It will need to be developed on both nodes, depending upon what network upgrade it is released in. Right now, because of the absence of a replacement for the Zcash wallet, we're not yet as an ecosystem in a position where we can migrate entirely off of Zcash, but that is work that we're interested in pursuing. It's not totally clear yet what that roadmap looks like, but we are starting to move in the direction of, at least I think that the intent is clearly to move off of Zcash. The timeline is not yet clear.
Right. Okay. So yeah, as I said, we'll be figuring out internally what will be the timeline for us to resume work. And me and Jason McGee will be giving a talk about the ZSF on ZCon 5. So excited to do that. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Tomek. Next up, Frost. I don't think we have anybody here, unless Arya, is that something you potentially are handling?
It is not.
Okay, then let me just double check. Okay, we will possibly circle back to that if anybody joins. Next up, Zcash shielded assets, and I think we have Vivek.
So for the ZSA updates, I think like the main focus for us for the last few weeks has been again on backward compatibility. So there's been like work required on Libras Zcash and Orchard and Halo 2 and basically the test vectors, I think, that we've been working on simultaneously. We've pretty much finished the Orchard and like the test vectors work independently. And so now we're just confirming that things work, like they work as they're expected to once we like put them together. And then similarly, we are going to do, like, I think the Libras Zcash work is also close to getting done. So then we're going to check the test vectors with that and so on. So on the circuit front too, I think we are working on like being able to generate both the circuits while ensuring that the optimizations that we made for the Orchard ZSA circuit, as well as the original optimizations for the Orchard circuit, are maintained so that we get the optimal circuits in either case. So all this is work for like our network upgrade integration milestone. And so we've spoken to ZCG about like possibly splitting the milestone in a way that we can claim some of it for complete, like once we complete the backward compatibility work. We have recently just about started kicking off discussions about the audit of the CSA protocol as well. So that's something that I think should be happening soon after we get the backward compatibility done. So we'll get, as we get more information about how that's proceeding, we'll share that with you. Yeah, and I guess the last bit is regarding our recent grant proposal. We followed the discussion on the forum and spoken to the ZCG, and nothing's the general direction is that we will look at how we can shift things around with what we have, so we can try to push the essays out for everyone faster, as fast as possible. Yeah, we're also in the process of adjusting the grant proposal we made in such a way that we don't lock up a good chunk of the available funds, and so that ideally we'd like to see ZEC rise, there's more available in the pie, and then get the things out, the things that are important in smaller phases. So yeah, we haven't quite worked out those specifics yet, but yeah, we'll share those along as those get more crystallized.
Thanks, Vivek. Trailing finality. I don't think we have anybody to touch on that. Okay, any questions or for anybody who presented, or any open announcements that anybody would like to share? Okay, just double checking if we have any. Okay. Next up, open discussion section. Is there anything anybody would like to bring up? Get feedback on? Call for questions again?
Everybody go download Zashi iOS if you're on iOS, and give us feedback if you haven't done so yet.
Absolutely. I guess I'll give a shout out. We announced ZCon, so I think some folks here are likely speaking, so you won't have to register, but anybody who's watching this later on YouTube or is in the audience, you can go to our website, zfnd.org, and go to the ZCon section and walk through the steps for registering. We'd love to have you there and participate. And just double check a couple things here. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for presenting. The next Arborist call is April 18th at the 2100 UTC time slot. We'll hope to see you guys there, and we'll see some of you in between that time. Thanks for joining.
Goodbye, folks.